So let's dive into the mind of one of history's most compelling figures, Lucius Ananias Seneca. Think about this guy for a second. He was a major player in the Roman Empire, a Stoic philosopher who talked about simplicity while being one of the wealthiest men alive. He was an advisor to the tyrant Emperor Nero, and he was a man who knew both incredible power and, eventually, his own death sentence. It was actually in his final years, forced into retirement, that he took a lifetime of brutal lessons and poured them into a series of letters that have somehow become a timeless guide for the rest of us. Seneca starts by hitting us with a question that just cuts through all the noise. And I want you to really honestly think about this. Your job, it can be taken away. Your money, it can vanish. Even your health can fail. So what's left? What is the one thing that is absolutely 100% yours that no one can ever touch? And his answer, it's so simple, but it hits you right between the eyes. Your time. He says, everything belongs to someone else. Only our time is our own. We are given this one single fleeting possession, and yet it's the one thing we let everyone steal from us through endless meetings, mindless scrolling, and just our own carelessness. The wild thing is that these letters, written nearly 2,000 years ago, feel like they could have been emailed to you this morning. That's because Seneca isn't just wrestling with some ancient Roman problems. Nope, he's tackling the big stuff. Anxiety, ambition, the fear of dying, that constant search for a life that actually means something. And this is so crucial to understanding the Stoics. For them, philosophy wasn't some stuffy academic thing you debate in a classroom. It was a practical toolkit, a set of mental strategies designed for one single purpose: to build a tough, rational mind that can handle the chaos life throws at you. So the first tool in that kit deals with the only place where we have total control, our own inner world. Right? We can't control the traffic or the economy or what other people do, but we can always control how we judge those things and how we react to them emotionally. Now, this is where the Stoics really drew a line in the sand. Other philosophies, like the Aristotelians you see here, they argued for moderating your passions. A little bit of anger is okay, a little fear is useful, but the Stoics, they had a much more radical goal: to completely eradicate them. Why? Because they saw these destructive emotions as springing from faulty logic, from making bad judgments about what's actually important. Okay, so how do you actually do that? Well, it's a very deliberate mental drill. First, you just notice that flash of anger or fear starting to rise. Then, and this is the whole game right here, you pause. You refuse to just go along with it. You withhold your agreement. Then you put it on trial. You ask, what lie am I telling myself right now? Is this really a catastrophe, or is it just an inconvenience? And finally, you reframe the whole thing using reason. Because as Seneca says, it is so much easier to shut the door on a passion at the very beginning than to try and kick it out once it's made itself at home. All right, so once you start getting a handle on your inner world, the focus shifts. Now we turn to everything outside of it. All the stuff we spend most of our lives stressing about. Money, our reputation, our health, and all the curveballs life decides to throw our way. And to deal with all that external stuff, the Stoics had this really mind-bending concept they called indifference. Basically, it means that all the things we obsess over, being rich or poor, healthy or sick, famous or unknown, are, in and of themselves, neither good nor bad. They're just neutral. They're the raw materials of life. The only thing that makes them good or bad is how we choose to use them. This forces you to completely flip your value system on its head. On one side, you have all that external stuff, the indifference. Sure, we might prefer to be healthy over sick, but ultimately, it has zero impact on our actual worth as a human being. And on the other side, that's the only column that truly matters: our character, our virtue, our wisdom, our sense of justice. And Seneca is especially sharp when he talks about wealth. He just lays it out there. Money never made anyone rich. And his logic is airtight, isn't it? The more you get, the more you want, and you're trapped on this treadmill of desire. He argues that the person who can truly say, I have enough, has achieved something no billionaire ever will. So if a big bank account isn't the goal, what about when things go wrong? What about real hardship? Well, for a Stoic, that's not something to run from. That's a test. Adversity is the storm that lets a great sailor prove their skill. It's the training ground where we find out if our commitment to being a good person is the real deal, or just something we talk about when life is easy. And that brings us to the absolute heart of it all, the very center of Seneca's philosophy, After we've worked on mastering our reactions and letting go of our obsession with external things, what's left? What is the one true good, the North Star we should be aiming for in everything we do? For a Stoic, it's not a complicated list. It's not a balancing act. There is only one single ultimate goal: virtue. Now, to really get what virtue is, it helps to be crystal clear on what it isn't. It's not being pain-free. It's not having a lot of money or being famous. It's definitely not about chasing pleasure or just having good luck. Seneca would say even the lowliest creatures can be free from trouble. Those things aren't special. Virtue is something else entirely. So what is it then? Put simply, virtue is perfected reason. It's about being excellent at the one thing that makes us human, our ability to reason. It's the state of having a mind that's consistent, that's logical, and that correctly judges what is truly good. And here's the best part. Because it's purely internal, it's the one thing in the universe that can't be corrupted by luck and can never, ever be taken from you. And as Seneca describes it, this isn't some heroic one-time act. He says its strength is not impulsive or sudden, but consistent. Its strength is long-lasting. It's a stable, reliable character that you build, piece by piece, decision by decision, over your entire life. Okay, now for the final exam. How does this whole philosophy prepare us for the one event none of us gets to skip? Our own death. For the Stoic, it's not a tragedy to be feared. It's just a natural conclusion. Seneca's advice here is to just zoom out, way out. He reminds us that everything, from the most powerful empires to the mountains themselves, is temporary. Whatever you see pass by, he writes, will waste away and come to an end. Our little lives are just a tiny part of this huge, universal process. And then he just dismantles the fear with pure logic. He asks, what is death? Either an end or a transition. I mean, think about it. If it's the end, it's nothing to be scared of. It's the same as the non-existence before you were born. And if it's a transition to somewhere else, well, then you're just moving on. By breaking it down, he takes away its power. And really, that's what it all boils down to, isn't it? Every single piece of Seneca's philosophy ties back to this one powerful idea. The world is going to do what the world is going to do. Fortune is a roller coaster. People are unpredictable. Your power isn't in trying to control all of that. Your real power, your real freedom, is in that little gap between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. And so that leaves us right back where we started, with Seneca's timeless challenge, a question that's just as urgent today as it was in ancient Rome. If your mind is the only thing you truly command, how will you choose to use it?